Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Zhan Kossobutskiy has advanced to 16-0, stopping the tough, durable Joey Dawejko inside 2 rounds in Germany. So this performance was built off the back of bodywork, and Kossobutskiy is one of the better body punchers in the division. But not even I expected that this one was going to end so quickly. And not without controversy as well, so we'll get to that first, and then on to a couple of other thoughts, and at the back end of the video we'll talk about the other heavyweight fight on the card, which was Jose Lardouet versus Santander Salgado. Bit of a fishy ending in that one. But starting with this main event, which was on a Universe and Box Promotions card, which was also broadcast via Fight TV and in Germany via Build Plus. This one here, I thought this had points written all over it because Dawejko over time has proven to be incredibly tough. He's not called the tank for no reason. But he, right from the outset that first round, you could tell the work to the body, the straight lefts to the body, wasn't liking it. And if we cut to round 2, the finishing sequence in this fight started off with a body shot which partly doubled Dawejko over. He turns around and Kossobutskiy is on him in a flash and lands a left hand to the side of his face. That drops him, and quite heavily. He sort of goes through the ropes. He's down on the canvas, and it looks like he's going to be counted out. But then he sort of gathers, tries to get up, but then he claims to the referee that he's been hit behind the back of the head. And the referee gives him an opportunity, but he sort of slinks into the ropes, and it's waved off. Clearly didn't want it, didn't want to continue. That much was clear. And I was really surprised by the ending of this one, and more so because I've gone back and already watched the ending about 10 times just to see what happened, because in real time, just because of the camera angle's a little hard to see, but this shot here, this is the moment that the final punch of the fight, the left hand that followed up from the body shot, lands. So Joey Dawejko's claims of a punch to the back of the head, completely fictitious. There was no punch to the back of the head because we can see all of the back of his head, and there was no punch that's landing on the back of the head. I think really what this sort of signaled was he was looking for a way out, because he took some punishment to the body in this fight, all one and a half rounds of it. But he was having some success as well, getting some shots in on Kossobutskiy, but that body work clearly was telling. The left hand, which was coming in pretty regularly in both rounds, and it wasn't like it was an action-packed fight. You had that first round where Zhan Kossobutskiy and Joey Dawejko, somewhat of a feeling out round, Zhan Kossobutskiy pressing forward, trying to pin him onto the ropes or into the corners, but it's not like he was really letting his hands go. He was trying to really place his punches. He was looking almost, waiting too long for a perfect opportunity for a perfect punch, but he was still getting shots away to the body, the left hand to the body, looking for hooks as well, straight left to the head. And Joey Dawejko was also having a little bit of success getting some of his own body work away. There was the odd uppercut that was coming in, but it was nothing like tremendous or anything like that. It was just a solid opening round with Dawejko sort of coming off second best. That second round, it was a bit of a continuation. It wasn't a barn burner by any stretch, but Kossobutskiy continued to invest to the body, and ultimately that paid dirt, because we saw in that final sequence Joey Dawejko, it only sort of looked like a jab, a straight shot to the body, sort of doubled him up a little bit, and that was when he was vulnerable and took that punch to the side of the head, not the back of the head. Clearly this shot demonstrates it wasn't the back of the head. So Zhan Kossobutskiy gets probably the best win of his career, and Joey Dawejko, who has been in with a lot of big punches, a lot of big names, and never been stopped. He's been stopped through retirement before, through injury, but this here signals him getting stopped for the first time, and he did go down really heavily. So he sort of crashed to the canvas, and I thought, wow, he's not going to get up here, but rallied quite late. The ref gave him every opportunity, but then he just started claiming hit in the back of the head and slunk into the ropes. It's waved off. Zhan Kossobutskiy remains unbeaten. Another stoppage. And you got to say, even though this wasn't the most impressive performance, because it just looked like it was a really workmanlike effort. It was almost like a sparring session, and he gets a pretty impressive finish in the end, although Joey Dawejko was clearly hamming it up, and even after the fight. And here's another shot, still claiming and saying to Kossobutskiy to his face, "You hit me in the back of the head." But didn't see that in the replays at all. And Zhan Kossobutskiy, like the commentator said, didn't really seem to care. So he moves on, and he has a WBA international title, which he was defending in this one. So he'll probably climb up the ranks a little bit further off the back of this win. Hopefully, because he's at a certain point in his career now, they can put their hand in their pocket, get him some decent next opponents, because he's ready. He's ready for the stiffer tests in the heavyweight division. The other day in a pre-fight video, someone said someone like a Rudenko or perhaps even a Christian Hammer, that's the sort of level that they'd like to see him at. And I think those are perfect type fights, and ones that wouldn't necessarily break the bank. You've got Andrei Rudenko coming off that win over Majidov, so that actually does have some appeal for me. I think that's probably a good sort of fight at this stage of Kossobutskiy's career. And for the meantime, while you've got the sort of upper end of the division, there's a number of things happening and he's trying to come through. These are good fights to not only keep him busy, but gain experience, and the necessary experience for tougher fights to come, which clearly, based off this performance and some of his recent activity, he's ready for. So good win, and a little surprising from Joey Dawejko. And I'm sure some people will, maybe Dawejko fans or friends or family, basically say that he was robbed in this one and that da-da-da-da-da. But if you go back, watch it in slow motion, just go back and watch it. I don't know where this so-called punch to the back of the head was, because you could not see that. It didn't look like anything came to the back of the head. Took a body shot that sort of folds him around a little bit, bends over, and then he takes a shot to the side of the head, and he's down hard, and it's all over. And if we get to the other heavyweight fight on the card, which was Jose Lardaway versus Santander Salgado. So this was interesting because a bit of a fishy ending. And I'll start there first, because the left hook comes in. It didn't look particularly hard compared to anything else that had been thrown, but Santander Salgado sort of goes down, doesn't really make much of an effort to beat the count, and it's waved off. Just to me, and watching the replay a couple of times, I was like, looked extremely fishy. But another win for Jose Lardaway. And this was a performance where I was, having a good look at Lardaway for the sort of, not the first time, but watching one of his fights live. And I thought, he moves well, he's got good footwork. The conditioning, bit of an issue. Maybe the power is not quite there for a heavyweight, because Santander Salgado was sort of absorbing quite a few shots. And if anything, I thought that Jose Lardaway was guilty of headhunting, and he was really trying to load up, but he really wasn't having much success in the first round. Even the second with the headhunting, sort of once he started to go down to the body and working, instead of just looking for a big right hand, and he was loading up with some other shots, he was dropping some hooks in there as well and working to the body. He started to have much more success and looked better. He has a good jab, but sometimes it was just a bit of an afterthought. But he moves on. The ending looked a little suspicious to me. How about you, if you did catch it? But he remains unbeaten. But Zhan Kossobutskiy in the main event does get a bit of a statement of sorts, although it looked like Dawejko wanted a way out. What did you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.